First it was a dream, then it was a reality. Now, it's a nightmare. No, I'm not talking about the DC Cinematic Universe. I'm talking about the Internet of Things. And this is Checkzone. Up until the last decade, IoT seemed like a fun idea whose time might never actually come. Sure, you'd have your occasional chumby sitting on a nightstand somewhere, but the idea of a pervasive ecosystem of internet-connected, non-computer things that was both affordable and useful seemed like it was years away. But the pervasive nature of cheap ARM chips, ubiquitous Wi-Fi, suddenly made IoT not just possible, but seemingly easy overnight. Suddenly, we were awash in internet-connected devices. Sure, the Amazon Echo family was an early success story, and while it jumped out to an early market share lead, the bigger story of IoT are the vast array of white box options from overnight OEMs. Having Google or Amazon running an IoT ecosystem comes with a raft of completely justifiable privacy concerns. But having thousands of devices from unknown manufacturers is a genuine security crisis. There are, of course, the creepy risks to individuals. A quick search on Shodan will demonstrate just how perilous the IoT landscape is. All you need is an IP address and a stock login, and you can often get access to printers, video cameras, and more. Add to it the fact that these devices are also the perfect vector for botnets to launch DDoS attacks. Figuring out how to own one type of device with low security means you can suddenly, potentially, have your botnet installed on thousands of devices. The thing that makes IoT interesting to consumers, its low maintenance, appliance-like operation, has the same benefit for malicious actors. Of course, enterprise use cases aren't exempt from this either. A recent report by security researchers at IOActive found security exploits within long-range wide area networks, or LoRaWAN, to use radios for low-powered connectivity for IoT sensors back to home base. Don't get me wrong, this is a really useful connection standard for battery-powered devices in the field where you need to sip power but remain somewhat connected. Think of things like weather monitoring or traffic management sensors. But the researchers found that in many instances, organizations deploying them left their encryption keys in plain view. In some cases, leaving out a QR code on devices that contain device IDs, security keys, and more. Or just keeping hard-coded encryption keys from open source libraries in the software, meaning that you were a search on GitHub away from breaking encryption. Yay! While enterprise exploits are definitely worrying, I think this is just a reflection of IT culture not realizing the implications of having an endpoint in an IoT form factor. The same standards that might secure a server in a data center or even an edge site don't work on an IoT device that's mostly unattended and potentially public-facing its entire life. Enterprises have a vested interest in changing their IT culture to adjust to that expectation, and I suspect that these growing pains will lessen over time. Not that that excuses any of these companies from liability. But we're starting to see regulatory scrutiny hit the consumer IoT side. The UK's Department for Culture, Media and Sports and National Cybersecurity Centre recently proposed measures to deal with the issue. They would require all internet-connected device passwords to be unique and not offer a stock password factory reset option, basically so you don't have someone reset it to a known stock answer. IoT manufacturers would also have to provide a public point of contact so that any report of a vulnerability can be provided with a timely response. And devices must have an explicitly stated minimum length of support time for things like security updates from point of sale. These mirror similar regulatory rumblings coming from the EU and the US. These requirements will raise the minimum threshold needed to sell IoT devices to a consumer. This will almost certainly restrict who can actually market an IoT device going forward. Gone are the days of someone rebranding something they bought on Alibaba and dumping it on the market. Requiring a place to report bugs and having to respond in a timely fashion is a good first step, but not nearly enough. Let's face it, Amazon, Google, and Apple already have responsible systems in place to report bugs, and enough public profile to pressure them to fix them quickly. But for smaller IoT manufacturers, the problem is how to get eyes of security researchers on their devices. Requiring some sort of bug bounty program, while probably not legislatively possible, would go much farther to get eyes on these smaller devices, and help resolve the most table stakes issues. Because we already know that there's enough of an incentive for black hats to look to exploit these devices. That's just about it for Checksum. We'll be back next week with another video, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to Gestalt IT on YouTube to get it in your feed every week. And let us know in the comments, do the benefits of IoT outweigh the security concerns, or is it just not something you want to tangle with right now? Let us know. Can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you next time.